Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Cloudy Sheep and we are returning to Democracy 3 in the return of the... in the Years of A Communist run. So we are trying to turn the Years of A Communist. We have just entered our second term, so we just won the election and are now trying to take the last steps towards our achievement. So what we want to unlock is the Socialist Paradise over here. Unfortunately, it doesn't really tell us what we need to do that, but you can look that up online. And there are basically three things that you need to fulfill this. So, firstly, equality over here needs to be really high. Secondly, poverty needs to be really low. Thirdly, the working week needs to be... Working week? Where are you? There. Working week needs to be really short. So, honestly, it's a little bit not really truly communism. It's a little bit more like the Nordic style sort of socialist country. So a very egalitarian, not too poor society with really low short working weeks is more what that is. Sorry about that, just had to take a sip of water because my voice is acting up a little bit funny, which is also the reason why there was a little bit of a gap between episodes. So let's see where we stand on these issues. In terms of equality, we're really maxed out, so everything is fine over here. In fact, we also have the egalitarian society over there. Secondly though, in terms of poverty, things are looking okay. I think poverty is really low. It's not quite where it needs to be, but it's coming down and the trend line is there. There are a couple of policies that we enacted, so I think this is going to go down a little bit more, and we can do a couple of things pretty easily to bring that down further. So I'm not too concerned about the poverty. I am concerned about the working week, however. Now, as you can see, working week is driven by three things: labor laws, unemployment, and industrial automation. So, or automation. Labor laws then, we've changed that a couple of turns ago, I think maybe a year ago or two. We've changed that from being completely pro-employer to being pro-union. And that has the single biggest effect on the working week at minus about 17%. On the other hand, unemployment is driving this up. So as the unemployment comes down here a little bit, the working week also follows that, but to a much lower degree. And lastly, industrial automation is having little to no effect at all. Now, looking at these three things, I think the baseline is about 50% over here. And that we are looking at an effect of minus 7%, minus 6 to 7%. So probably this is about 44%, which seems to be plausible to me. It's roughly a little bit below the middle, so I think it's probably at about 44. Now the issue is this needs to be below 40, so we'll need to make sure that this comes down a little bit. The problem is that the labor laws are maxed out already, so we have no room to decrease that further in this regard. So we must be looking at indirect effects via unemployment or industrial automation first. So this is a little bit more difficult. Now we'll have to look at that in a moment, but I think we can do it over the last 8 turns if, and this is the second biggest problem that we want to achieve in our second term over here, is not get murdered. So, as you can see, a couple of people don't really like us, the wealthy, the capitalists, as you would expect in a communist run, but more importantly maybe the liberals over here. 68%, fully 68% of our population are liberals, so that is the grey bar that you can sort of see behind that. You can see capitalists don't like us, but there are not that many of them. There are about 30% of the population or so. Yeah. Liberals, much more numerous, really not happy with how things are. So we'll need to address that. These guys are very likely to murder us. In fact, they have founded the Freedom League with about 1,700 potential terrorists who are actively trying to murder us. So yeah, we'll need to deal with that. Now there are a couple of things that we can do. So firstly, our security effectiveness right now is rated as poor, so we can try to bring that up in some way or another. And that's probably one of the focus things that we'll need to do in the next couple of turns. Secondly, we can try to make them a little bit more happy, maybe. And thirdly, bring down their membership. So do a couple of policies that will make sure that there are not quite as many liberals as there are now. That would be great. So I think for a truly communist run, we should really focus on the security effectiveness. So bring down the hammer on these guys. And really try to make sure that they can't hurt us too badly. Right, the third thing that we do want to look at is the economy. Now, our economy is doing relatively okay. We do have a surplus over here of about 62 billion per quarter, which you can also see as our income, the green line, exceeds the red line, our expenditures, for the first time since a couple of years really, with only a very brief spell in between over here. Now, I think we are at a much more sustainable level over here than we were over here, simply because our income level has changed a little bit from various income taxes. Sorry about that. But I want to make sure that this is really sustainable. Now, there are some good news. The alcohol abuse over here seems to be coming away really nicely. So I think we'll see a really nice recovery of these 56 billion deficit per quarter again. So that should bring us down to up of about 100 billion, which would be really nice. Secondly, I would hope that the tax evasion at some point goes away. This is costing us about 8% of our income, so I'd really hope that that goes away, and that we are not wasting that much money. It just seems to be wasteful. So let's try to address these three things. So firstly, in terms of the unemployment, which is driving the working week, so let's try to bring down the working week. To do that, let's try to bring down unemployment. What is driving unemployment? A couple of things really, but one of the things that has a positive impact on unemployment right now is, or which is driving unemployment, is immigration. You can see immigration is really high right now, and while immigration is a positive thing all in all, I figure, it needs to be balanced. It needs to be somewhat in the middle. If it's too high, there are some issues with unemployment, with wages, and so on and so forth. So I want to make sure that the immigration is not becoming too much of an issue, and to do that, we'll take a look at border controls and bring that up to just about here. I think that's going to be a nice position. It's going to make the liberals a little bit more mad at us, but I think this is a good choice, just to make sure that our unemployment target doesn't go too far off. I also want to bring down the income tax from about 65% to about 60%. Let's look at the income that we're getting from that. So we're losing about 100 billion per quarter, which will hurt us definitely, but I think it's going to be counteracted by the fact that we are probably going to drop down below the tax evasion threshold over here, and that'd be really lovely. Now we have about 14 political capital left, and I want to use that to take the internet censorship down a little bit, just to make the liberals hate us a little bit less, because that is really one of the things that irks them the most. So I'm pretty happy about how things stand now. Let's appoint a UN ambassador. Let's appoint Donald Bryant, popular figurehead on the international stage, reputation for problem solving, so not the hardliner. I think that's going to be the better choice. Probably going to make the liberals like us a little bit more. I'm not sure whether they would show up now, but hopefully they're not murdering us. Capitalist plot, interesting. Ooh, and our credit rating has been upgraded, so that's very nice to see. That brings up GDP. It will bring down our interest costs here. So we are running a surplus. Actually, our surplus has increased a little bit, because our expenses seem to have come down a little bit more even than our expenditures, so that's very nice to see. I would really love to see the debt go down a little bit more, or our credit rating improve. It's still at CCC rated, it's not really great, so yeah. Very nice things though. Tax evasion, you should be coming down a little bit over the next couple of quarters, so that'd be lovely. Liberals, how's your opinion of us? It's increasing a little bit. And this number should have a downwards tendency, so that would be nice. But let's make sure to address a couple of things that will give us a little bit better protection so we don't get murdered. So firstly, let's increase our armed police presence. Again, the Liberals are not gonna like that. Let's try to find something that they would like in turn. I think we might want to have a look at the alcohol law over here. Bring that down about 9. I think we could bring it down to a minimum age of 29. The Liberals would really love that. Alcohol consumption would go up. Violent crime would go up. And the youth would like us a little bit more. Crime would go down a little bit, so that'd be nice. But mostly, I'm really worried mostly about the Liberals. And I think we can take a couple of turns of increased alcohol consumption over here. Especially as maybe unemployment is going to drop down further. So that'd be really, really lovely. Next turn we will have 49 political capital. That's a little bit too little to do some of the things that I would really love. Which is mainly curfews and detention without trial over here. So form a really proper communist response on some of these issues over here. The other things that we could do is identity cards, CCTV cameras. I think CCTV might actually be probably the best choice, but we don't have enough for that either. So that leave police drones. Or do we want to do some other things? We could potentially drop down prisoner tracking. It's not that expensive and the Liberals will like it a little bit more. So that would be nice. We could also think about the gated communities over here. If we increase that, Liberals will not like it. Equality would go down, but that's not an issue. We have really high equality. But liberalism membership would start to go down a little bit. So I actually think this would be a very nice thing to do for us. Other than that then, narcotics is fine. Legal aid I think we've maxed out already. So there's not that much more that we can do. So I think this is going to be fine. Let's do the next turn. Let's hope we don't get murdered. Capitalist plot, but not murdered. Ooh, GDP seems to be coming down a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. Unemployment, still rising. Crime pretty much still at 0. Poverty going down, that's nice to see. Education then. Interesting to see that not being maxed out. But we have a life expectancy, so everyone is really happy, so that's nice to see. Budget report. Yes, we're really doing really great. Our income is soaring a little bit over here, so that's extremely nice to see. Even though we still have the tax evasion. Are you going to go away? Please, please, please. I really love that. Right, how about the Liberals? You are getting a little bit more happy. Is your membership dropping? No, it's still increasing. And our security effectiveness is not that great. So, law and order. The things that we could do, or that I really want to do, is curfews and detention without trial. Now these cost 50 political capital. We are earning 33, so we would need to save up at least 17. Is that right? Yeah, 17. So that means we can now spend about 22. 22, ideally a little bit less maybe. CCTV cameras are a little bit more expensive than that, so that's not ideal. I'd also like to do a couple of other things. Primarily, what I would like to do is do the robotic research grants. Not that expensive in terms of political capital, so let's do that. Let's be very modest about them. Let's only do them at about 50% over here at medium. Trying to bring up industrial automation a little bit. Again, to exceed a little bit of pressure on the working week, bring that down a little bit. Oh, that went down further. Huh, I didn't know that was possible. But that's good. Still about -7 here though. Especially as unemployment is starting to increase again. So we really need to deal with unemployment. Now, some of the things that we could do is do military spending. Liberals would not like that. I'm also thinking about rail subsidies a little bit. There's always the risk of a strike happening, so it might be nice to increase that. Maybe to about 100 billion. Commuters would like it. Unemployment would go down at least a little bit. So it wouldn't be too bad. 10 political capital. We do have some money to do that, so wouldn't be the worst. But I'm really concerned about the Liberals murdering me. It's really my main concern. Right, okay, let's bring up the rail subsidies from medium, so from 70 billion to about high, I would say. Bring down unemployment a little bit. It's gonna cost us quite a bit of money, but I think we are gonna be alright. So that leaves us with about 6. Am I right about that? Yeah, about 6 political capital. Let's only spend 5 just in case something might go awry. We might want to have a look at our development aid. Raising that is a little bit more expensive though, so not really a choice. How about private prisons? I think we can cancel these and Liberals are gonna like that, so let's do so. Not too much of an effect on anything else, but that should be fine. Let's take the next turn. Let's hope we don't get murdered. Whew. Seems to be going on alright. GDP is doing fine. Expenditures are coming up a little bit. Our surplus is decreasing just a scooch. But the global economy is improving, so I'm looking forward to a good trend over there. That would be lovely. Everything else seems to be fine. Security briefing. Yeah, the membership of the Freedom League is still going up. So yeah, not that great. But we do have 50 political capital. So let's briefly take a look at the working week then. Working week. Why does it always get rearranged? Should be blue over there. Unemployment is still driving that up, as unemployment is coming up over here. I'm not sure what's driving up unemployment so much. Don't think it should be GDP. Immigration is starting to fall off very quickly. Oh, but it does have a time effect. So I think that is taking a positive turn now. And maybe unemployment is going to come down a little bit over time. That would be lovely. Right, so let's do the radical thing. Let's mandate detention without trial. It's going to be very expensive in terms of political capital. Implementation time is very low though. Liberals are really not going to like it. Patriots are going to like it. Foreign relations are going to come down. But it's going to prevent terrorism. And we are going to make that unlimited because we are communists and we can lock people up for as long as we like. So that's also the dilemma, and then see what's going on. People smuggling. I'm tempted to allow them to stay. But honestly, right now, with the income or with the immigration as is, I think we need to deport them. I think we just can't bring down the working week enough if immigration is still soaring. So let's make sure that this is as is. Let's take the last turn. Over here, we are not getting murdered yet. But a couple of things have changed. So GDP is alright. Tax evasion has changed. But we are now seeing the Luddite revolts over here, which are costing us some money and productivity, which still should be maxed out, which is nice to see. So this is a result of our policies, actually, I would think, of our funding for robotic research grants. It's pretty much inevitable, but I still hope that that's going to be alright. In particular, since the working week is gonna be very nice. Right, our surplus over here is soaring, pretty much because of the end of the tax evasion thing. So that's very, very lovely to see. We now have a surplus of 200 billion. It still would take us a long, long time to bring down our debt level to really, really sustainable levels. But maybe once the interest rate starts to fall over here, I think we should be starting to see a couple of good effects. Now, other than that, the doctor strike that we still have down here is never really truly going to come down, I think. Ooh, what's actually bringing that down over time? Unemployment might be. Labour laws certainly haven't changed. Private healthcare I don't think has changed. Trade union is the number of them. And all the wages? Really hard to say, but I don't expect that to go away. It would be really nice, but yeah, not gonna happen. Luddite revolts, we're gonna be stuck with that for a little while. But industrial automation should be starting to come up a little bit. And as that is coming up, the negative effect on industrial, on the working week is gonna vanish over here. And yeah, still unemployment is still increasing. That's even though immigration has been falling quite dramatically, and I think the effect on that should have fallen. But yeah, but industrial automation is of course bringing down unemployment, so that's not a good effect for us. And it's bringing that down pretty dramatically, I have to say. Huh. We have to think a little bit about how we deal with that. How about the Liberals? Yeah, they now actively hate us. But our security effectiveness has increased to adequate because of detention without trial. So that's very, very nice to see. And even the capitalists are starting to drop off over here, so very, very much in favor of that. Still earning quite a bit of political capital. So I think we are in a good position. We might really have to see about the effect on the working week of our policies over here. I really, really need to bring down unemployment. Quality should be really high still. Poverty I don't expect to change a lot. It's actually pretty low over here. Might have to do a little bit about that, but not too much. Really our main goal must be to bring down unemployment so that the working week can do its job. I think it needs to be below 40%? For 4 or 8 turns, I'm not entirely sure. I think it is for 4 turns, but right now I'm not entirely sure. We'll also really have to think about what we can do to appease the Liberals further a little bit. But yeah, that's gonna have to wait until next time. For now, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!